Dear comrades, this is R. Sendil Kumar welcoming you all back to the Postal Fraternity YouTube channel. Festival season has begun, so all comrades will be eagerly expecting the bonus payment. So, at this juncture, the Postal Fraternity team thought that it would be appropriate that our young comrades know how the trade unions struggled and achieved the demand of payment of bonus to all the union government employees. So, to explain this topic, today the Postal Fraternity team has invited Comrade J. Sri Venkatesh, who was our ex president, circle president of All India Postal Employees Union Group C, Tamil Nadu Circle. He will be explaining about the topic bonus payment to all and how unions achieved this demand. So over to Comrade J. Sri Venkatesh.
Dear comrades and friends, fraternal greetings to all of you. I am immensely pleased to meet you all through this Postal Fraternity YouTube channel run by enthusiastic youngsters of various divisions in Tamil Nadu Circle, spearheaded by Comrade R. Sendil Kumar, Division Secretary, Chennai City Central Division. I am really thankful to Comrade Sendil Kumar for having extended this invitation to me. Today we will be discussing about the bonus. Bonus, what is meant by it? What is a bonus? Generally, there is a feeling in the society that bonus is nothing but a gift, a freebie, an inam, a bakshis given by the factory owners to the employees or the workers. The dictionaries too nearly say the same meaning. Is it so? Is it a freebie? Is it a gift? Only a good gesture of the owner, factory owner, results in bonus. Is it so? Let us rewind the history and see what is a bonus and how it was started to be paid. In 1914, First World War broke out. From 1914 up to 1917, the World War shook the entire world. It affected the economy of all the countries very severely. Especially the working class suffered a lot owing to spiraling prices. They were unable to cope up with the price increase. There was total agitations in the minds of the employees, the workers. Industrial unrest and anger and anguish was evident. There was total unrest. Once the World War came to an end, the ruling class, they very cleverly decided that unless and until industrial tranquility and industrial peace is maintained, the lowering down economy will never revive. So, instead of paying a pay hike every month, they decided to pay one-time bonus in a year. So, they paid a wartime bonus. In history, that was the first time a bonus was paid to the workers. After that, the bonus was an illusion for the workers, but the word bonus, it attracted them very much. They started to raise this demand consistently and persistently. It was not heeded to. Government changed. British rulers went. We got independence in 1947. Even then, there was no one to hear the voices of the workers. After persistent efforts only, in 1950, a labor appellate committee was formed by government just to hear the side of the workers. After some hearing and discussions, a formula was charted out by the government. But it did not give any satisfaction to the workers at all. So again, there was agitations. There was opposition. In 1959, the formula was accepted to be revised. 1960 in tri-party meeting. The tri-party meeting was attended by representatives of the government, the industrial bosses and the workers. A strong plea was made for the bonus and the demand was raised officially in a meeting. Owing to the pressures extended, what was the demand by the workers before the tri-party committee? The bonus is a deferred wage. That was the demand put forth by our worker side. What is a deferred wage? In foreign countries, the salary was paid on weekly basis. But in India, the factory owners paid salaries on monthly basis. A year consists of 52 weeks and 12 months. 52 weeks means 13 months. So the 13th month salary was not given. It was deferred. It was withheld. So that deferred wage has to be paid as a bonus was the demand by the worker side. It was supported by various court judgments too. So the bonus act was passed based on the particular argument. So 1 month salary, that deferred 13-month salary was paid as bonus that was equivalent to 8.33%. Hence, the bonus was constitutionally and legally a binding factor on the factory owners and the bosses. Okay, this is for industrial workers. Let us now see how we got bonus, the central government employees, especially the postal employees. In 1947, UPTW was formed and all those smaller unions were clubbed together, and NPTE was formed on November 24, 1954 in Vinay Mahal at Delhi. Once NPTE was formed, all the postal employees came under the one umbrella called NPTE. Within few months in Calcutta, there was a postman conference. Comrade K.G. Bose, who undertook a valiant fight against the government for clinching various justified demands of the postal employees, attended that conference. A delegate, a postman comrade, gave a small check to Comrade K.G. Bose stating that bonus for all to be paid. Comrade K.G. Bose not only initiated the debate and ensured that a unanimous resolution was passed in that conference. That was the first occasion the demand was raised officially in a meeting. It took some years, and in 1962, in Nagpur Federal Council, Comrade N.G. Iyer from RMS and Comrade Surya Narayana from Telecom, they moved a resolution stating that bonus for all to be paid. In 1965, the Bonus Act was also passed. When this demand was made by a section of the leadership, it was not accepted by all. Unfortunately, we had to take this issue, this demand, an attractive one even among our own employees and leadership. A section of leadership was ridiculing this particular demand, stating that posted for bonus for all means bonus for none. We are not industrial workers. How can we be paid the bonus? All these arguments were put forth. There was not unanimity among our leadership in this particular demand. But once this 1965 Bonus Act was enacted, there was a belief among the rank and file that we could be able to achieve this particular demand. So in 1972, Comrade K.G. Bose, he gave a clarion call that special convention for bonus is to be conducted throughout the country. In December 10th to 12th, there was a special convention at Delhi, and at the end of the convention, there was a 7.5 kilometers long procession taken out. All this made that we could achieve the demand of bonus. On January 19th, 1973, bonus for all day was also observed. But unfortunately, in the mid of 70s, our federation had an industrial dispute, organizational dispute. A parallel list was floated and the recognition of federation was withdrawn by the government. So we could not organizationally move forward launching various agitations for this particular demand. But our leadership was very clever. They used the external factors that came in our way. After emergency, the most powerful Indira Gandhi government was thrown out. A Janata Party government spearheaded by Morarji Desai was installed. It also fell. It was also toppled owing to inner contradictions within few months. And Mr. Charan Singh, who was a cabinet minister in Morarji Desai's government, he claimed the prime ministership. He offered to form the government. Various parties, various regional parties and fringe parties extended support to him. We can remember. Likewise, left parties also too extended support to him. They placed three major demands. Number one, the anti-labor laws which was enacted has to be withdrawn. Number two, the Delhi transport workers who were victimized were to be re-inducted in the employment. Number three, bonus for all central government employees and the railway employees. And we should be thankful to those leaders who utilized the external factor very effectively, and to Mr. Charan Singh also, who signed the file and granted bonus for the central government employees who did not, we should remember that he did not even face the parliament. He was there for just 15 days, and in those 15 days only we could be able to clinch this particular issue of bonus. But the government was very clever. The government, advised by the bureaucrats, very cleverly moved a thing, and three different types of bonus were given. Railway was given production linked bonus, number of days will be more. PNT, we were together then, postal and telecom were together then as a single department, and we were given productivity linked bonus, the number of days was lesser than railways. But central government employees did not get bonus during that time. They had to wait till 1983, and in 1983 only we were able to get the bonus for central government employees. It was called ad hoc bonus. So three different types of bonus was given to central government employees, dividing them, ensuring that they could not form the unity to fight for betterment. So this is one aspect. I am really astonished to note that the history of trade union, especially in postal, it reveals an important, intriguing fact. If bonus is denied without even waiting for the call from the Federation or All India Union or Circle Unions, the rank and file, they automatically embarked upon agitations. In 1985, our PNT was bifurcated into postal and telecom. Consequent to that bifurcation, in 1986, bonus was announced to telecom around 30 days. For us, it was announced as only 15 days, that too not to be paid in cash but to be impounded in GPF. This infuriated the rank and file very much. At that time, there was an All India conference. Our cream of leadership was there. There are divisional and branch secretaries and all other frontliners were also there. No one was there to take care of the immediate reaction of the employees, but the employees did not wait for the leadership. They immediately launched on various agitations in the form of walkout strike, pen down strike, etc. Once the conference was over and leadership came to the headquarters, they very much utilized this opportunity and gave shape to those all agitations, and owing to the pressure exerted by the Federation and All India Unions, 27 days bonus was paid in cash, and that shows that bonus, if denied, The rank and file, the employees will not keep quiet. On second occasion, in 1996, there was an indefinite strike from October 23rd to October 29th. Generally, if a strike is conducted, there will be a charter of demands consisting of 10 or 15 or 16 or 18 demands. But this particular strike had only one agenda, a single point agenda: remove bonus eligibility ceiling. It never happened in the trade union history before or after. For a single demand, there was an indefinite strike. What is that eligibility ceiling? Bonus has two ceilings. Number one, bonus eligibility ceiling, and there was a ceiling on the bonus amount to be paid. Eligibility ceiling means if a particular basic pay, if a person is drawing a particular basic pay or above, he will not get bonus. During that time in 1996, the bonus eligibility ceiling was rupees 3,500, and owing to various pay commissions, majority of the employees, they have already crossed 3,500 barrier. So majority of them did not get bonus. This angered them very much. The anger and anguish was very evident, and there was total unrest. Based on the call given by our federations, there was an indefinite strike, and here too left parties intervened. Mr. Harikishan Singh Surjit, who was General Secretary of CPIM, directly spoke to Mr. Deva Gowda, who was the Prime Minister then, and this matter was settled positively in favor of employees, and the ceiling for eligibility was totally removed, and today no one will hear about the eligibility ceiling. Nobody knows about it. So that was an achievement, major achievement. Then quite recently, on 2nd September 2016, we launched a one-day strike, and as a result of that, the bonus amount ceiling 3,500 was raised to 7,000. So that was another achievement for us. So this bonus is an attractive demand. It is rather an intriguing fact that this particular demand attracts the employees very much, and they, even without for the call given by the CHQ or federation, they are prepared to go on agitations immediately. Unlike this bonus demand, no other demand catches up the minds of the employees, especially pay fixation. Let me say one thing. Pay fixation, we demanded 3.56% fitment formula, but pay commission gave us only 2.58. If this particular demand is accepted and exceeded, every employee could get at least 4,000 to 5,000 rupees extra every month. But this did not create the anxiety or anger or anguish among the employees as bonus demand did. We should revisit and review the situation, and we should ensure that the same kind of reactions, the anguish, the anger comes for the settlement of other demands also among the employees. That is the duty of the youngsters now, the cream of leadership which is taking forward our flag ahead. They should consider all these facts, and they should ensure that when history is told to our members, they must be educated and they must be enlightened that all other demands, including the pay revision, requires our special attention and agitations. Comrades, there is another one smaller thing I would like to tell. Bonus has still another cap. This bureaucracy, they know the tactics, they know the knack of using various terminologies. There was ceiling, there is a ceiling, and there is a cap also for postal employees alone. For bonus, for number of days, there is a cap of 60 days. However, productivity increases, however, percentage of revenue increases, the cap of 60 days is there to ensure that not even a single day beyond 60 days is paid as a bonus for us. So this needed to be removed, and our federation is actively following it up, and it is our duty to ensure that that cap is also removed. So with this few words, I take leave from all of you. Again, I am reiterating my sincere thanks to all those young comrades, especially Comrade T. Sendil Kumar, for having offered me this wonderful opportunity to share my views with you all. Thank you, comrades. We will meet soon again. Thank you. Thanks a lot.